boop, 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 boop. Let the boys be boys. Hey, no one said I was a DJ, but it was better this week than it was last week, Tony.
True.
Hey,
I didn't let up any random people. I only forgot about you for 10 minutes.
oh my gosh, it was hilarious, man. I was calling you all types of names.
I walked away. I was like, oh, wait a minute. I forgot about I
Man, I
forgot
was
about
calling you
Rab.
about yourself.
I
You
was
know,
gonna do this all by myself, my friend.
you were complaining about the water bill and everything. Everybody heard it. I was like, man, I even joined the comments myself. I was like, well, when he remembers me, but you did just in time, man. It's perfect. It
Yeah.
wasn't all drawn out like I wanted it to be. I wanted to come on 20, 25 minutes early, but we didn't do that. But I like to welcome all of you in the comments to establishing healthy eating habits with Bari Male Experience. Um, I wanted to lay, me and Tony wanted to lay some ground rules on the expectations during our live that we share with you all within the community. We can't tolerate people being disrespectful to each other, whether they're on the panel or in the comments. I mean, we provide a really, safe space, positive vibes only. We're here to have some fun, learn a little bit, share our experiences, and creates just a safe space for the community. So yeah, expectations, Jay. I see you, bro. Um, but,
Exactly.
but yeah, welcome everybody.
Welcome in. If you're just joining the live, just make sure that you can tap that screen for us. And if you could share the live with at least 5 of your friends. I can see that it's already being done right now. I appreciate everyone tapping the screen. We're already at 4K, which is crazy. And we're only 2 minutes in. That's the
Heck yeah,
advantage of being live, listening to music and vibing.
that's right, Caitlin. Good vibes only. That's all we're searching for around here. So we got a special first panel guest this evening.
I'm actually pretty psyched about this one because I love watching everything that he makes, and his content is great.
Yeah, he's got a lot of creative dishes that he comes up with, some ideas, and I've actually spoke with him a couple of times on the side about ideas. And he's pretty helpful and knowledgeable in his profession as it is, anyway. So I'm
Oh
looking
yeah.
forward to having Russ up here.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, Jay. I mean, thanks for sharing the love, man. Maria, how you doing tonight? Yeah.
All right, keep tapping that screen and keep sharing that live for us.
Hey, make sure also keep in mind, throw it in your calendar, get a head start on this week since it's already got bias. But for the upcoming week on Sundays, make sure you reach out and share and join in with the very intentional chat on Sunday evenings at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 o'clock Central Time, 6 o'clock Mountain Time, and 5 o'clock Pacific. Every Sunday, please hang out with very intentional chat. What's up, Chef Russ?
What's going
Hey,
on,
fellas.
Chef Russ? Thanks for
How we
coming on.
doing?
We appreciate it.
Heck yeah,
Thank you. Let me just
Yeah.
get situated real quick.
absolutely. Jamie, good evening. Good to have you. I want to let you all know before we get started, real quick. I'm gonna warn you that since I howdy since I got the surgery and I'm 7 months post op, this will be the first night, during this live that I'm gonna eat some rice because I hear all this crazy stuff about rice, and I've got to get something in my belly. I got to eat something, so just bear with me. I'll try not to be as rude as possible, but hey, this is who I am.
I
Enjoy,
messed it up.
enjoy yourself.
I'm trying to figure out this green screen thing, but
It's all
I
good.
don't
While you
know.
figure it out, how you doing this evening?
I'm good. I'm good.
Good.
How y'all doing?
No, we're doing good.
We're hanging in there. We've enjoyed the full day of tormenting weather. Getting ready for what's coming here on the East Coast. I'm really not looking forward to it, but the temperature's supposed to rise, so we'll see what happens.
Along with the winds, because I'm gonna get 50 to 60 mile per hour winds.
So,
I
Chef,
love this
Oh,
weather.
we had it nasty where I am today. We actually had a ton of water in my basement today, and that was a treat.
I
But I
hope
got
it
to
was.
deal with it. I took care of it already.
So, well, let's get into it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Establishing healthy eating habits.
So,
Before we get started, Chef Russ is a chef.
I am.
Where did Chef Russ start, and how can you give us a taste of where you and how you ended up in your journey and where you are today, and share that with us?
Yeah. When I was a little kid, I always cooked with my mom a lot in the kitchen, and just helping her and baking with her and making food, and that was kind of like the real basis. And she would have told you that she was an excellent chef, but that was kind of why I became a chef, was because not so much. But I went to a culinary program in high school, and it was actually kind of funny because I was at a crossroads. They have like a vocational high school where you can go to like high school half the day, and then like a vocation in the other half. And I was 50-50 with going into cosmetology and doing hair or culinary. And I flipped the coin and I went with food. So that's where we are today. um, I went to uh, I went to Johnson and Wales University in Providence, and so I was there for years, and then I ended up living in Rhode Island for a long time, and I ran a very large restaurant group in Providence. And while doing that, I became a gluten-free chef. So we ran a lot of gluten-free restaurants, and we became a destination. And so that's kind of where my start into like the healthy cooking came from, and like thinking outside the box on culinary swaps and alternatives. Was really like doing a lot of gluten-free cooking. So that's kind of where that started. I worked in New York City. I worked in the Hudson Valley in New York. I did a stint as a personal chef to a celebrity for a few years. We kind of traveled all over the world. And then, let's see, I got fat, like real fat, as a chef. That was just an unfortunate thing. I was working crazy hours. 100 hours a week was the norm, unfortunately. And you get home after working 16, 17 hours a day, and you just sit down and you eat like a big old giant bowl of mac and cheese and just total shit. And so I just gained weight really fast.
How long? How far post op are you out?
So right now we're looking at about 19 months or 20 months, something like that. It was April 22. So
Wow.
yeah,
How you feel?
how are
I
you
feel
feeling?
good. I do. I feel good. It's been a roller coaster. I'm not going to lie, and most of it's been emotional, right?
Mhm.
Because that's of course part of this battle that they don't really talk too much about before you get into the surgeries, and so that's kind of what I really focus on advocating nowadays is getting your mental right, because I didn't in the beginning, but I'm pretty on it now. And I guess that's all all that really matters is that you progress each day, and you get better and stronger. And then I feel like I've been given a gift, right? I had this opportunity to have this surgery and lose a ton of weight, and get myself into a healthy position. So I just give back. I like to do these videos, and I like to just show people how they can make alternative swaps, and how they can lead a healthy life. And that's kind of my thing.
What do you feel like was your breaking point? Like, what made you want to get the surgery?
Whew. I think it was when the doctor told me I was diabetic. Like for years it was that you're pre-diabetic. Your numbers are just approaching diabetes. You're getting there. You're obese. You get the morbidly obese comment. Every time you go to the doctors, it's always that you need to lose weight. You need to lose weight, and then it was the you are diabetic now. Fast forward a couple of years, my mother actually was diabetic and she passed away. So that was something that really triggered me and triggered my emotions to really take charge and get something done.
What surgery did you have, Russ?
So I had the VSG.
You had the VSG.
I had the sleeve. hmm And
What did
to
you
be
find
honest, I
out?
didn't get on. What's that?
Oh no, go ahead. Finish
I
it.
was gonna say, to be honest, like I didn't get on TikTok until after I had already committed to the surgery and was in the final stages of the post of the pre-ops, and honestly, had I had this community, I probably would have made different decisions. I probably would have chosen a different surgery just for me because I did have acid reflux, for one. But I also probably would have went to Mexico because I see so many people with success doing that, where I paid cash here in the United States just because I didn't know anything else. I didn't have this community or I didn't know about it. So that was it's been eye opening now, and all these people have this at their disposal, and it's amazing.
Right.
So besides the mental aspect, the difficulty of it, what did you find the most challenging
Yeah.
about your dietary change?
Ooh, for me, honestly, um, it wasn't really that challenging. There was a period of time. So I do work with food service distributors. I'm just backtrack a little bit, and so I was a corporate chef with a food service distributor, and when I left that company, I knew I was going to a different one, but I had a non-compete, so I had a 1 year. I couldn't go work for this company I was going to. There was another company in the area I was working for. It was a fitness meal prep company, and all they did was fitness meal prep and meal planning. And I took a position with him for 1 year as an executive chef because he needed a year out of the kitchen because he was building a new concept. So it was just perfect. I needed a year in, he needed a year out. So I went and I ran that company for a full year. And so every single day I was doing healthy meal prep. But we were doing about 3,000 meals a day. So
Wow.
ironically, I'm cooking this amazingly healthy food for a tremendous amount of athletes. That's really who was eating most of this stuff. And I was morbidly obese, which was, kind of the irony behind it.
Yeah.
So I think when it came time for me to have the surgery and for me to start thinking about doing meal prep, it really did come somewhat natural to me because I had that background in how to do it. And I just needed to scale down the portions.
Wow.
So that was, yeah.
Right. And it's funny because I know you looked at me like I was crazy when I said, which surgery did you get? And you're like, did you look at my name, Rab?
It's in my
I mean,
name.
Chef Russ, ESG, and you're asking me what surgery I got. So, I mean, hey, I try.
Yeah.
Hey,
Right. Um,
and I have a question real quick. Does
yes, sir.
anyone in the chat know that there is know of the post-op bariatric diet guidelines? It's a trick question, but I just kind of wanted to get the chat involved. You know, does anyone know what the post-op bariatric diet guidelines are? So, with that being said, at what point after you got the surgery, at what point were you able to just like swallow gallons of water?
So that
I
one goes
mean,
back to college, right? Back in the day in Providence, Rhode Island, there used to be this place called Finnegan's, and it was
oh, I
every
know
Tuesday night.
Finnegan's.
You know Finnegan's, right? So when we were in college, I went there. They did this like beer chugging contest, right? And I went there with some friends one day, and they like kind of like championed me and like pushed me to go up on the stage and get into this chugging contest. And you know that was just something like part of my weight loss thing was part of my weight gain was when I was a kid. I used to chug chocolate milk in school and we would race chugging those little chocolate milks. That's how it
Yeah.
started. And then
Yeah.
I got as I got older, it switched to beer. And
What a change.
so we go to Finnegan's, and they do this thing where they would hold a dollar bill up, and if the bill hit the ground, I would have already been done with the beer. That was like the thing. So I end up winning this chug contest, and then the winner of the chug contest got to be the winner of the thong contest, which I didn't mind that all that much. So that was kind of fun. And then I remember telling myself, I was like, you know what, I'll just keep coming back until I lose, right? So 3 years later, I end up graduating college and moving to New York, and I never lost.
Undefeated.
But you know what? We all grow up, right? So now it's just water. But anyway,
Jen, that's wild. I saw you do that, and I was like, must be VSG.
I don't know if you saw
look,
my post.
everybody was all in it. Everybody was all in the comments, and they were all like, you know what? I would have thrown up. I would have puked. And I was like, who said I didn't?
Right, I know that's. Jenna said
I shut the camera right up.
Jenna said I was told to stay on 1 ounce of water every 30 minutes and wait for an hour to do protein. 1 ounce slowly sips. And we're talking about hydration. So when we talk about establishing healthy eating habits, what does that mean to you, Chef?
Honestly, it's establishing a routine that you can stick with and live with. You know, that's what it's got. I'm going to elaborate on. I was trying to type back to something, but you know what? I'll answer some of these later.
That's fine. Hey,
I'll answer it later. Yeah. No. I can't. I'm one of those guys. Like I can't like do this. Like I can't type and talk at the same time.
I can't either. I can't.
It's never gonna happen.
Do you?
Like So anyway, no. Like, all right. So there's another diet, and I do business with a lot of people that are on this specific diet, and somebody I work with that's on it, and it's a very very popular diet here in the Carolinas, and I think a lot of people are successful with it. But what I'm watching these people is that they're depriving themselves of certain foods in certain times and certain weeks, and then like they're just miserable, right? They're pissed off and they're miserable. Like I was with this lady yesterday, and they haven't been allowed to eat fruit in 3 weeks, and so she took a bite of an apple yesterday, and she was like, "Oh my God, this was the best thing I've ever had in my life." And I thought to myself, I was like, this is why people fail at diets like this, right? Because you've been deprived for so long that now, you know, like the second you go off of this thing, you're just going to go so far to the other side, right? So when you do your meal prep, it's got to be stuff you like. It's got to be stuff that's sustainable. And it's got to be something that I can do this today. I can do this tomorrow. I can do this 2 weeks from now and 2 months from now, and I'm still going to be happy with it, right? And that's what it's all about. You know.
So, if you want to hold that thought, I actually have a question that's down in the comments. So Regs actually says, I am actually having trouble with consistency with cooking. I'm a terrible cook. You got any advice to that?
Yes. Learn how to make 4 things really well. Right? You know, find a few things you like. Okay? Do you like a Jamaican jerked grilled chicken thighs, right? With roasted sweet potatoes and some Brussels sprouts, something like that. Like, you know, it's not hard, but learn how to make something that you enjoy that's healthy. Just learn how to make that really well and do it over and over again. Right? You don't need to reinvent the wheel every week, and then learn something else, you know? It's there's plenty of videos. There's YouTube. Hit me up in the chat. I'll talk anybody through anything, right?
Y-
People ask me all the time, and I'll make videos specifically for them, and I'll tag them in the video with recipes.
Are there any? I wonder if there's any other ideas other than cooking traditionally, you know, because it's people like me that are lazy. Like I know I should get in and get to cooking, but I think that if I and I've seen other people in the community, they've started cooking and stuff like that, and I'm just lazy, man. It's like finding an excuse not to go to the gym. You know,
Hmm.
going to the grocery store, getting the food. Now, I'll go to the grocery store and I'll get the food and bring it home, but it'll sit there and I just won't cook it and I'll still find ways to get around it. Are there any
Yeah.
easy, simple ideas that you could think off the top of your head that kind
Of
of
course, like you can go to like the grocery store into the prepared deli aisles, right? And they've got amazing salads. I was in a grocery store yesterday, and they had this beautiful like chickpea salad that had like chickpea and lentils and like roasted beets with a light vinaigrette. And I was like, you know what? I could probably eat that all day and be happy as a clam. There's things like that. You can go and you can find a meal prep service, right? You can find a catering company. I mean, there's
yeah.
plenty of those type of options.
And
Um,
I see some ideas also in the
There's a lot of
rotisserie.
stuff flying.
Dooley says
oh yeah,
rotisserie
these chats are
chicken.
moving so fast.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Rotisserie chickens. That
phenomenal.
Dooley.
rotisserie chicken is my every single week since the beginning, right? Since I got surgery, I do rotisserie chicken every single week. And I've done a video where I make like a buffalo type chicken salad where I use like the cottage cheese and I put ranch seasoning and some buffalo sauce and I make like, buffalo chicken salad.
Mm.
But I eat that pretty much every day for lunch.
Yeah,
It's easy.
Yeah,
you could utilize that air fryer and that crock pot a lot too, I guess. You know,
yeah.
and it's
Hmm.
always an afterthought for me. I don't think of it until after the fact.
I made a
Um,
turkey
Yeah.
chili
Well,
on
then,
Sunday. I walked away for 6 hours.
yeah.
yep. And then another thing that I do that we do here a lot. So we have my daughter's an athlete and she's consistently at practice, whether it's in the morning or at night. She's always at practice. So like we're never home. And so that's a challenge. So a lot of times we get home and it's 8 o'clock at night and like you walk in the door and you've got to figure out dinner like immediately. So yes, the crock pot's a great idea, but sous vide is something also to think about and to learn how to utilize a sous vide machine because they're very inexpensive. And all I'll do is I'll take like a nice piece of fish, maybe a piece of salmon and some herb compound clarified butter, maybe some seasonings, and I'll throw it in a vacuum bag and I'll drop it in a sous vide at just the right temperature. And I know when I get home with them, like my dinner's done. I just pull it out of the bag and I'm ready. And it's like slow poached fish.
Huh.
Same thing with like chicken. Yeah. Put some pulled chicken in there and just throw it in the sous vide.
All right, so I'm gonna go with my whole spew. Um,
Bring it.
and I asked everyone earlier about if they knew what the post-op bariatric dietary guidelines are, and I saw a lot of stuff in the chat that said follow your medical advice, so on and so forth. And I get it, I understand that, and by any means, I am not a provider, meaning a doctor or a surgeon, nor am I a dietitian, and I'm definitely not a therapist. But out of my book, out of my book, it says that the nutritional guidelines for post op bariatric dietary guidelines are to start with clear liquids and progress
Hmm.
with pureed foods. Gradually introduce soft foods into your diet. And stop me if you want, Chef Russ, because I'm reading this out just to get a reaction from you. Um, Focus on protein rich foods. Stay hydrated, aiming for at least 64 ounces of fluids daily. Limit sugar and high fat foods. Take prescribed supplements to prevent nutrition deficiencies. Eat small, frequent meals to avoid overeating. And might I add, it's crucial to follow personalized advice from your healthcare professionals based on individual health needs. What do you think about the post-op bariatric diet guidelines?
I think all of it is 100% correct, and as you're healing, that all makes perfect sense, right? And then the very last thing you said is what makes the most sense. You know, follow for you specifically what what your plan needs to be. You know, not everybody's going to be the same. And you do need to figure out how to tailor it to you, because they might tell you to eat something that doesn't agree with you. So you need to find your way, right? And that's the glory of this, is that there's so many people on here that have different ideas, and they can kind of just help.
And speaking of ideas, real quick, just to get the
I'm
chat
cooking
involved,
right now.
and then I'll pass it over to you, Tony. Speaking of ideas, let's talk hydration. A lot of people have a hard time getting the correct amount of hydration down. And I'm eating right now, so I don't have mine with me. You know, I wait the 30-minute rule. And they don't have a means of getting, they have such a hard time getting that 64 ounces down right after surgery. It's an issue. I remember using medicine cups to help me, get those daggone, the water, the fluid in. I would take a sip of 3 ounces every 5 minutes or every 10 minutes until I was done with like 24 ounces at a time. That's what I did. What does the
Yeah.
chat, what did you all use? Like, what ideas did you use when you found it difficult to get your fluids in? Because a lot of you, I know you struggle with this. Some of you did not, but most of you have, I would assume. What do you have to say about that, Russ?
So I have a couple of ideas that are different than what most people seem to think on this app, and maybe I go a little bit against the grain. But my first thing that I do is I start out every single day with, like the deli soup containers, the plastic quart containers. They hold 32 ounces.
Yeah.
I fill it up with filtered water. I fill 4 of them up, and I put them in the refrigerator. I start my day there. Okay. And I know as I'm moving through the day that those have to be gone before I go to bed. That's a gallon. Okay. So like in my head, like I drink one before I even have my coffee. Okay. Then I move on to my protein coffee, which is right here. And then like I'll take another one of those containers and I'll throw it in my lunch bag with me to head out the door with my meal prep. Okay. So now by the time I'm even like halfway through the day, I know I already have a half a gallon done. And then I just keep on working that way. And I have a very visual track of exactly where a gallon is. Most people take these big Stanley cups, right? And they throw a bunch of ice in it and they just fill it up. They drink and they're like, oh, there's one. I'm going to fill it up again. But you have no clue how much water you're drinking, right? So
Right.
I start with an exact measurement and I work my way through it through the day. That's what I do. Like what you say, I'm not the authority on it, but I know it works, right? Another thing that I found is that I was using one of those like big ass cups with the straw for over a year. And I found myself not being able to get the water goal. Okay. I switched to this. With this big opening. I'm drinking double what I was drinking with the Stanley with the straw with this.
So you're not
Double.
even using a straw.
Ever. Never. I drink with this and I am literally getting double my water in than I was with the big Stanley type cup with the straw. Because every sip I'm taking, I'm probably taking 3 times as much in.
Yeah, and
It's what I noticed.
What'd you say, Tony?
So I was the same way. I couldn't use the straw. I think I've used the straw maybe twice since my surgery, and I have this 52-ounce Yeti, and I didn't get one of the big fancy ones that cost $80 because it keeps my ice cold for 24 hours. This thing's literally just plastic, and cold, really, really cold stuff bothers my stomach still. So I don't even fill it with ice. I just fill it with water. If I need a flavor packet, I throw a flavor packet in. But this is 52 ounces, and I usually have this done before noontime at work. and all I have to do is just fill it back up again, and this will get me all the way back home. So if I'm drinking 100 ounces of water, I'm drinking 100 ounces of water. And it really depends. If I go to work out, then maybe I'm drinking even more. But it's consistent all day. It's slow and steady. I'm not sitting there trying to chug and gulp and everything else.
I saw your video. Yes, you were.
Yeah.
That wasn't water.
Right.
Yeah.
No, but look, this is my observation, because I did do the big cup with the straw for well over a year, and I just noticed that like every time I would take a sip, it was nowhere near as much as every time I take a sip out of here. My observation.
Yeah.
So
Jay, busted.
You caught me.
Maria likes the fancy cups.
look, there's
Sarah,
plenty of those in my house. My
haven't
wife and
cut
daughter, they got Stanleys all over the place.
It keeps cold tap water cold long enough for me to drink it. Do people like the cold water out of the fountain, or do you like room temperature? I know there's a difference there as well. Hello, Ellie Belly. Welcome.
I got cold water.
I mean,
Yeah.
cold water's fine. I mean, if it's 90 degrees out and I'm walking around Florida and,
Yeah.
in Disney, yeah, you know what? A little cold water helps. But for the most part, cold water, I can't drink cold water anymore. It bothers my stomach too much. And some people are sensitive to that stuff. Some people need the ice cold water and can't have lukewarm or tap water.
Yeah.
Am I a
Triple.
restaurant chef now?
Yeah.
So no, I've progressed in my career where I'm a culinary specialist actually, and I focus on gluten-free food, but I work with food service distributors and I train chefs. So what I do is I go to restaurants every day. I go to maybe sometimes 10, 20 restaurants every day, and I work with chefs and I show them new things, new ideas, new products. That's what I do.
Jenna says, does flavored water, does it make a difference in the fluid intake? And I don't believe it does. Do you know?
I don't
I mean,
I
if
don't
you're
I don't waste
if
my time with it.
yeah, if you're taking in fluids with flavored water, I think that counts as, fluids going in. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah,
I
I
am
mean,
not.
my nutritionist and my doctor said if that's the only way I can get water down, especially in the beginning when I had trouble, then go with the flavor packet. I mean, it's probably not something
That's
you want to
exactly
live
it.
yeah.
If that's what you need and that's what you like and that's what it takes to help you, yes, do
Yeah,
it.
whatever
I've
works.
tried to mix it up now where I might have a flavored water, but I'll mix in regular water in between that stuff,
Yeah.
just to get like regular water, because I mean, can't really replace water.
Yeah, I see you, Regs. It does depend on the person for sure. It does. I
Yeah, it
mean,
does.
it just really puts things into perspective when you ask these questions, and you could see the differences. We're all different. Again, we're
Yeah,
all on our own journey. That
it's
there's your
preferential.
perspective. Yeah. And what works
Yeah.
too. So,
Yeah.
behavioral changes, establishing healthy eating habits, uh, and behavioral changes. What How do you think that influences your mental and your behavior? I mean, all the changes that we endure with the after the surgery with our diet, we we've gone on these two-week starvation diets before our surgeries. We actually have, the surgery, and we forgot to think about the fact that we're still on a starvation diet, whether we like it or not, because we can't get what we
hmm
want, our minds want to get in, and it makes it so difficult. So yeah, we have to learn how to address the emotional eating. How did you address it? Chat and Tony, what did you do to address that?
So my biggest thing was I really had to shut myself off in the beginning. Like I went and I got so strict and I was insane. I basically was just like, no more of this, no more of that. I was eating my pre-op. I was able to eat. Um, I was able to have a couple protein shakes, but I was able to eat one meal, and that one meal was basically dinner. But otherwise, it was just straight like it was awful. That's all I can say. It was awful. I was like a little bit too strict with myself. But what that did was it broke me away from saying, "Oh, hey, I'm on my way home." So I live off a main drag. This thing is Route 53 in Hanover, and the minute I get off the highway, the first thing I see is Chick-fil-A, then Chipotle, then Panera Bread, then there's a McDonald's, then there's Wendy's, then there's a bunch of other Chinese food restaurants. Then I got a Chill and Grill, DQ. And then I'll even throw Shaw's Supermarket because I used to like those $5 slices of cake where they're like 6 layers. And I would stop, grab something, go park in the parking lot, sit there, eat it, and then go inside and be like, "Oh, hey, what's for dinner?" And without batting an eye. But I used to sit there shamefully and eat by myself, going, well knowing that I was gonna go in and eat dinner again.
Yeah.
But being really extremely strict with myself helped me break away because I drive by, I call it Temptation Row, and I drive down this road every single day on my way home. But now I can drive by it and not bat an eye.
Easy.
But I had to do that for myself. And I'm not saying this is going to work for anyone else.
Right.
But it helped me like, all right, well, if I can't snack on this stuff, what can I snack on? So now let me start exploring things that I can't eat or I should be eating. And that helped open things up as far as, all right, let me try a variety of stuff. What stuff did I used to like, especially stuff when I was a kid, when I didn't have access to all the processed stuff back then? I mean, I loved fruit. I love fruit again. I can eat fruit. What did I like? What else do I like? Oh, I kind of like this vegetable. Let me try this. Oh my God, why did I stop eating this? I love mushrooms. I make stuffed mushrooms all the time now. Zucchini. I love zucchini. I don't know why I stopped eating it. But like peanut butter and celery. What a great little snack. Hummus. I love hummus. Like these are things that I stopped eating for some reason because I was like, I want a cheeseburger. Oh, why? Look, a Baconator. Like I traded things for things that were probably better for me, but I still enjoyed and completely forgot about because I'd rather have a plate of nachos by myself.
Yeah, peanut butter and celery, Jay, for sure.
Yeah.
You know, I saw like a nice piece of toast with peanut butter and bananas on it this morning. I was like, that's a great freaking idea. Yeah,
Yeah.
avocado. I love
Mhm.
avocado.
This is very
So,
English, but toast and beans. Like a small piece of
mhm.
toast. And like you could even do like a Melba toast cracker if you want to have crackers, but beans,
So
baked beans.
I
It's a
made
it's a it's a
I made
nice little snack.
I made homemade rice cakes today. Um, and the recipe was crazy simple, but I made them like like the ones you go to like Aldi and get like the caramel rice cakes, the little ones.
Yep.
So they're basically like that, but they're homemade. And then I was just putting like homemade chocolate protein butter that I made on top of that, and protein peanut butter, and just eating that. Like, and that was like the perfect snack for me. The whole thing was like crazy full of protein, but like it felt like I was eating like something sinful, but it wasn't.
Right.
Yeah, I like that kind of stuff. Like I made I made those little brownie bites.
Keep it coming, Russ. Give it to us.
The the little brownie bites that I made. I think I posted those last week. Those looked amazing. They were just like protein powder with bananas and what else did I put in there? And peanut butter. And they were simple. And like I wish you all could have one, but
Hey
I
man,
don't
hey,
know.
hey, that's so wrong, man. That is
But
wrong. Why? I cannot believe you just did this to me, man.
but they were
Oh my
so
goodness.
good.
Oh man. Hey, and you got the recipe up too. You did the video, right?
Yep.
Oh
You
yeah,
did just recently. Just recently.
that's the
Man, I
thing. Let's
can't believe
share
you
it
just
all.
did that. Shares the love. Make
Have
sure
I
everybody get
gotten
it.
new devotion? There's a new devotion.
Did you get it?
Oh, maybe it's possible.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Maybe.
Uh-oh. Wait till you see what you
I'm about
come
to
up
be a
with that.
lifesaver.
Oh my,
Yeah, well,
that's
that's what I
amazing.
made today. I called them rice cream sandwiches. So I used that new caramel ice protein, and I made caramel ninja creamy, and then I made the caramel rice cakes, and I made little mini rice cream sandwiches.
And be honest with us. Be honest with us, Russ.
Mm.
What about what you're sharing with us is bad for
I'm a Jehovah's Witness for devotion. That's freaking
you?
hilarious. Um, what's bad for you?
Yeah,
None
that
of
you're
it.
mentioning. What do you mean?
Nothing. Nothing's bad
No,
for you.
none of it.
None of it.
You all better get with Chef Russ and go on his daggone page and watch and check out his content, sharing all this daggone love with us out here.
I
I mean,
I did
I'm
post the rice case recipe. Yeah, the rice cake.
nice.
I think the nice thing
So,
about
I mean, I'm married. Yeah. But like those rice cakes, it was funny, like I was eating them. Like I was eating the ones from Aldi's and I was like, these, the ones at Aldi's, I was like, they're good. Like, and I've always eaten these things, but I'm like, they just have that like chemically kind of like flavor to them. And then
Yeah.
literally I was looking at TikTok and I see people talking about this caramel protein that I didn't get yet. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, I'm going to figure out how to make salted caramel rice cakes from scratch. And I did. And it literally took me like 20 seconds to figure it out. It was so easy.
I really hope you all are tapping this daggone screen and giving us some likes and sharing this love. I mean, what else we got? What else we got, Chef? Just give us some more.
Oh,
Just one more.
oh. I mean, I've made so many things, from, when I was in the beginning, I like miso soup when I just had surgery. That was like my go-to, right? So I did a video in the very beginning of how to make miso soup because it was so good and it was so healthy and it was full of protein and it just felt like a warm hug, right after surgery. And like different variations on that ricotta bake that everybody did, So I made a bunch of those type of recipes just to help with that kind of stuff. Do I
Jay
write
said,
it
"Did
all
you?
down?
Yeah, you write it all down."
yeah.
I mean, a lot of it's been posted, and still there. And then, sometimes I just like think of shit, but yeah,
You just think of it and throw it together.
I
This
throw
is
it
what I
together.
love about the community is that there's so many people out there and they get creative, and I appreciate everyone that gets creative and they Frankenstein some of the meals that we love, and
Hmm.
they give us an alternative, because we all miss the things that we love to eat, but
Is
there are
big cottage in
alternatives
my
that we can
pocket.
have. And I think it's made, for a lot of us, it makes it easier for us to be able to make that conversion because we could have a healthier alternative. So I
Hmm.
appreciate
Yeah.
that, and I try to keep things simple, but I do once in a while try to make something like, what, that's interesting enough. I really want to make an effort, and I'll spend a Saturday or a Sunday trying to make something because it's that interesting enough that I want to try to make this, add it to the diverse like grouping of things that I'm already eating.
Yeah.
Variety is good.
Nothing makes me happier. Nothing makes me happier literally than when somebody sends me messages like, "Oh my God, I just made this and it was awesome." Like I
That's
just made
awesome.
your whatever. Like I just was like, awesome, good for you. Like for trying something. Because so many people get
Yeah,
like, that looks so hard. That's crazy. I can't. Nobody can do that. I'm like, I just did it. I did it literally in a minute on a video. What do you mean you can't do it?
yeah.
There's
You
no smoke
you
and mirrors.
you run out of options and you get bored real quick, especially when you're lazy like me. You got that fat
Hmm.
boy mentality. You're still trying to work that out, and
But start
man,
off
it's
basic.
difficult. Yeah,
Start off simple.
Yeah.
Make something simple. And you know what? If you like, like I want to jazz this thing up. Oh, I saw Chef Russ do this. Let me add something.
that's right.
I mean,
I
you got to start off simple because if you don't make it simple, you're not going to make the effort to go into something that's you add two more ingredients.
But what
You
does
know,
you want to do this, Tony? We'll do this right
yeah,
now in
let's
front of
do
all these
this.
people. What do you mean make it simple?
Make it simple. I actually have my lunch bag. So
Oh
I'm going to
shit.
do an impromptu it's not what I eat in a day, but it's going to be what I'm going
What's
to
in the
eat
bag?
a day. So this is basically, I leave my house pretty much at, I want to say about 5 o'clock in the morning, and I head out to Boston. And I don't get home probably until 5 p.m. So I'm out of the house for, 12 hours a day. What am I going to do to fuel my body? I have to pack something. And I used to spend days just eating the cafeteria food. And we all know how bad hospital food can be.
Yeah.
So pretty much like I start my day when I get up in the morning, I have a Profi. I have my shaker cup, I throw my coffee in there, I throw in a scoop of protein, and that gets me going in my day. So I'm
So
on my
how
way.
concerned are you of becoming dehydrated because you just had some coffee?
I'm not, because I
What if
stay
you do
hydrated
this?
all day. I
You
am
don't because you
100%
drink
not
water all day.
concerned. Yeah.
Why?
Like
I
I
want y'all to
said,
see the difference in these. You see
yeah.
the difference in these shakers?
Yeah.
Look at that. That's a normal shaker. Look at the size of this sucker. It's my new favorite.
If I'm drinking 100 ounces of water, I'm not peeing it all out in the middle of the night. But I'm drinking
I,
right before I go to bed too.
how many ounces is that, Russ?
50. Oh, here, go ahead, Russ.
That shaker is 36 ounces, so it's like it's just short of that. Like those Stanley cups.
Yeah, I'm just sipping out of 24 ounces at a time. It probably takes me about 15, 20 minutes to get through it, and I get like 4 of them in a day. That's what I do.
Yeah.
Period.
Well, with this thing, what I thought was really cool is we were on a cruise and we were in the Caribbean, and we went off, and I was in like Puerto Rico, and we're walking around, and I grabbed the bottle of Don Q for, not for me because I don't drink, obviously, but I grabbed the bottle of Don Q, and this sucker took an entire bottle right to the top, put the lid on it, walked right back on the cruise ship.
I'm going to use that idea. So before I go off track, because I could talk about alcohol all day. So for my snack, I have a mid-morning snack. It's just a Oikos 000. I add some berries. I got blueberries and raspberries here.
Nice.
And I get to lunch. I have some meatballs with some parm just in here. It's a small little container. I weigh it out. I'm not going to tell everyone how much it weighs because honestly, everyone is different. So I'm not going to like put expectations on you have to eat 4 ounces or 6 ounces of food. It is what it is, whatever your stomach can handle. So pretty much that's my lunch. My mid-afternoon snack, and yeah, I know I give you a lot of crap, Brad, because you like to have like processed food, but I just happen to have a protein bar. They're on
Oh,
sale at Shaw's. What can I say?
nice. Nice.
And so that'll carry me all the way till I get off the train. When I get off the train and before I drive home, I have one of these little Sargento like little balanced snacks. It's got a little bit of nuts, fruit, and a little bit of cheese, and that'll hold me over until I have dinner that night. But I
Right.
mean, as long as I'm drinking throughout the day, if it's 100 ounces, it's 100 ounces. Sometimes it's more, but very simple. Was there anything very complicated right there?
No,
I
no,
was
No.
it
just, I
wasn't.
was just, I was taking it all in. I was learning.
Yeah, I was
I
taking it
mean,
all in and learning too.
I can't make it complicated. I have to make it easy enough so I can pack my bag for lunch and for food for
Man,
the entire day.
that shit seemed complicated as hell to me, Tony. I'm not even gonna lie to you, man.
Well,
You
I
know
was
what?
a
You know
lot
what they
going
always say.
on.
What do they always say? Like kiss, keep it simple, stupid, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, keep it simple, and
I
it
am a
was it
bad.
was hard. It was hard for me in the beginning because I didn't make myself lunch, and I had to be like, okay, what can I bring with myself? But again, you build that routine, you build that habit. Every day now, I know that I'm gonna make especially after I have my dinner. I'm like, ooh, we got leftovers. If I don't have leftovers, I'm grabbing a can of tuna, or I'm grabbing if I have anything I can make in the cabinet. If I gotta bring soup with me, bone broth. If I can make a sandwich, if I have something in the fridge, I can make a sandwich with. I'm grabbing something simple that it isn't complicated. It isn't going to take me all night to make. I can just throw it in my lunch bag and I'll be satisfied after I have it when I'm, throughout my day.
Yeah, I was watching this documentary yesterday called "You Are What You Eat." Have you seen that? Has anybody in the
Yes, I
chat
have.
seen "You
Yeah.
Are What You Eat"? Man, that made me think about making some big drastic changes, man. I mean, you talk about something that's sustainable. I mean, it's difficult, to not give up those things you're so used to when it comes to like, they were just talking about, the production of meat, and how it hits the grocery store and the things that it goes through, and it's just I'm not going to get all into that, but it really puts into perspective, what we're still, after the surgery putting into our systems. And I'm not trying to be the food police, but I'm just trying to be realistic 100%. Is that I myself, speaking for myself, and I'm sure many others here in the comments, is that we really need to start paying very close attention to what it is that we're still putting in our system, because over time it's going to take its toll. Now, do you have a link for devotion on your account, Chef Russ, or
Yeah, it is just it's just the word Chef Russ. But I'm not really here to promote it. And I'm going to be honest with you. The reason most of my content is for devotion is just because I enjoy it, and the more obviously I promote it and people utilize it, then I get a discount on it, right? And I eat
yeah?
it every day, so I might as well do that. And that's it's something that like I'm going to eat it anyway, and I'm going to make these things, so I might as well film them, right?
Yeah.
And that's part of it. It's also, I've come through some challenges at home within the marriage, and part of our agreement was the majority of my content online is going to be that and only that. And so that's why you really only see me posting that and a couple little things here and there, but that's really what I focus on,
Nice.
because I'm just that's me being respectful at home.
Yeah,
So, you know.
Basti, thanks for sharing that bio and
So
code.
we got about 8 minutes left right now. Let's just I just want to kind of like go over like anything that we might want to, any last minute thoughts or anything, before we run out of time there.
Yeah, I got a last minute thought real quick I want to leave you all with so I can stir Tony up and piss him off real quick. But I have done these videos. Okay, boundaries. Yeah.
You want to
I
see Rob dance?
yeah. I have run videos where I would see like these dark circles under my eyes, and I feel like my face is shrinking and I feel so like weak. But I know that I went to have my labs done, and the doc said that my labs were A-OK. I'm good to go. I'm a little deficient in iron, but I'm not under the green line. I'm right up within the green. Everything's good to go. But it has to be the reason I feel the way I feel because I'm eating a processed food diet for the most part. I eat Quest chips. I go to the gas station to get tuna fish, crackers. I'll go. I'll eat cauliflower pizzas. They're not. Everything's not bad for you. It's all good, but it's not the best way for me to personally eat to make myself feel like I've been rejuvenated. I've been going to the gym now, so now I know that my increase in food is going to go up. So I need to make some drastic changes in my life. I have to make, some better, healthier choices for myself. So if that resonates with some of you in the comments, please give me a thumbs up. If it doesn't, that's cool. You're on the right track. But don't hesitate to jump in my DMs and show me some content with some ideas and things that you use to help you get through the day and live and lead a healthier lifestyle.
So
I
that resonates with me,
Yeah, does it?
honestly. And I'm sorry to interrupt, but like,
No.
that's really a lot of what I do is like, if you go through my page, you'll find I made Quest chips from scratch. I made cauliflower pizza from scratch. I made protein bars from scratch, several different varieties. I've made like I try to take all these things that everybody's buying. I've made so many different nut butters that are way healthier than the ones you're buying. Most of them are just full of oil, and mine has like this much in it. So like that's what I try to focus on, is taking these processed foods that we're all eating because they say that they're healthy, right? They say that they're, that they're protein, and that's what
I
I'm
think I
trying
lit someone up.
to. She didn't look like a man.
This is what happens when you let
And I
Tony
try
at the
to,
wheel.
You're
right.
fine, bud. You're good to go.
So,
I think it's great.
so,
A very male experience. I wouldn't have it any other way.
so that's what I try to focus on, is like all these things that everybody that I see all over the place, that everybody's promoting or ordering or buying, like that's all processed stuff that like that's not going to help you very much, or it's not too sustainable. So like, how do you just crack the code? How do you make it yourself? Like, I'm not even gonna lie, I figured out how to make Fairlife. Okay, I cracked that shit about a year ago. I tested it and tested it and tested it, and I literally can make that pretty damn close from scratch. But I didn't want to post that because I have a feeling I'd get
Oh
sued.
man,
So
I was hoping
I
you.
left that.
So if you want to
I was
I
DM
like,
left
me,
that.
yeah. I was like, where's the post at? I mean,
But
especially for our
it's just, the pork rinds, right? Like I did a video on like how to make those things in the microwave in like a minute. Like easy stuff. So that's the kind of stuff I like to do.
you
I
got
think
in the
the
got in the comments saying, "Hey, are you open to be a personal chef? Answer the question."
I did. I've been down that road before, and I worked for an A-list celebrity back in the day, and his pockets were deep. So it depends what you got.
so my closing thought is to basically give yourself variety. You need variety because obviously everyone's stomach is different. You can handle different things. Some people can't handle others. If you give you, don't be afraid to try stuff. You have to try it out because you'll never know if you're missing out on it or if your stomach can handle it or not. And if your stomach can't handle it early on, try it again a couple months later. Give yourself that variety because it's going to make your diet that much easier when you get when you get into maintenance mode and you give yourself a variety. You don't get bored with what you're eating because we are creatures of habit, especially me. If I eat the same thing all the time, and I did that for a while, I got really, really bored. And I had to start exploring, like, what else can I eat? Or I'm going to have a really hard time as I get further along in my journey.
Right,
So,
man. Thanks for the 50,000. Oh, we're at
oh my, we hit
51,000
50
likes. We
again.
appreciate you all so much. All
Russ,
that
can you
love, we
believe this
appreciate it.
community? Can you honestly believe this community? This community
It's
is just insane. I
This
can't
community
express
can
this.
make you and it can break you, and that is something that, what, we all need to just come together and stay together, and
I
that's
know
Exactly.
that's right. I know that is right. It's all good, WLS Unfiltered. No, hey, you've been up on the panel before. Welcome.
And again, I just randomly let people on when I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing. I'm just trying to scroll through comments.
Hey, Javi, all you got to do is hit me up in the DMs, man, and we'll make
I
that
still have
happen
fat
eventually.
thumbs.
We will make that
yeah.
happen. Well, I'd like to thank you for joining us, Chef
Yeah,
Russ.
thank you for coming up. We really appreciate that.
Thank you.
I like getting to hear like the stuff that you talk about. I get to see a lot of your content. We don't get to really talk face to face, or not face to face, but on a panel together. So I
Look at
really
that.
enjoyed you coming up.
If you're not following Chef Russ, make sure you go on and follow Chef Russ. He's got plenty of ideas, awesome things to share, ideas, all that. Sweets for sure with devotion, which is pretty awesome. I have yet to try, but I'm looking forward to trying as soon as possible. Hey, when you get to Sunday, don't hesitate to join the very intentional chat. 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And
It is
don't,
definitely something you don't want to miss.
yeah, put it in your calendar, January 21st. Head right on over to the after party of the very intentional chat on the 21st. Directly after, there'll be a
Oh,
Capricorn party. There's going to be a dance off, a DJ, and all that. January 21st, right after your very intentional chat at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, with that being said, we're getting ready to pull on up out of here. Next week, everybody's been waiting on this topic, relationships after bariatric surgery. We're going to jump right on up in there. And you know how that is. But once again,
Man,
thanks
I should have
y'all.
just chimed in on that.
Hey, we'll see you in the comments, I hope.
Yeah.
Thanks again, y'all, for tuning in.
Yeah.
We'll see
Don't
you
forget,
next Tuesday.
next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, 5 p.m. Pacific. Thank
Thanks,
you,
Russ.
everyone. We love you guys.
Y'all have a great night.
Peace. All right.
Peace.